Hello everybody, welcome back to Wolfeei. Today we're going to be talking about team predictions for MCC Season 4 kickoff. Yes, I know, I've already talked about MCC 36 team predictions, etc. But today is an actual valid reason. I'm going to be streaming team predictions later today, so we're going to actually be preparing for once. I know the OG Wolfeei Extras fans will be, absolutely excited for this one because this hasn't happened in a long time. But there's going to be a Wolfeei stream today, probably at around, I would say, 6:30 p.m., maybe 7 p.m. UK time. So be there, okay, be there. It's going to be fun. Also, I've been streaming pretty consistently, so come watch. Anyways, moving on. Today, I looked at 10 of the most recent Reddit team predictions, and I grabbed, for every color, the best representation of what I think could happen for that specific team color. Now, this might be a little bit confusing, but what we're going to be doing today is we're not really going to be looking at the specific teams or the balancing. We're going to be looking at the way the team is designed and how I think, or how I think that specific design will probably happen for that specific color. I'll explain when we're going. It'll make a bit more sense. Starting off with red, the way I think it's going to go. Before we start, just want to say, obviously, as I've stated previously, this is the season where MCC will be proving themselves, and I think with everything we've seen thus far, there's evidence that leads me to think that they are trying to step up their game for Season 4. They're trying something new, they're trying more. That's what I'm noticing so far from the name change, from everything. They're differentiating from what Season 3 was doing. So, I think there's going to be a good amount of newcomers in the first event. I don't know, like, a specific number. I'd say, like, 5, maybe more is my guess. I did a Twitter poll, I did a YouTube poll not too long ago where I gave the options of 0, 1 to 2, 3 to 4, and 5 plus. I personally voted for 5 plus. And I think that's very likely to happen again. Now, I didn't specifically look at the amount of newcomers in this roster, because I'm sure that if there are more newcomers than you may expect, they'll just be kind of scattered throughout. But I wanted to start with this. I think there is a nearly 100% chance that there's at least one newcomer on the red team. Now, obviously, this is a very bold prediction, but I think there's just a very high chance. And this is speaking from how I would do it, and I think obviously, the way I approach events is different than how Scott and Knoxville approach events, but I think there's almost a 100% chance that there's one, and there's even a chance that there's more than one newcomer on the first team. So, I grabbed, the predictions that have a newcomer on the first team. This one in front of me is one of the most common predictions. People think red is going to be in, which I think makes sense to predict, and then with Captain as a duo and Kara as a trio mostly fits, and Michael also is a very nice fourth as well. So it's a very cohesive first team with a newcomer and a cohesive team for that specific newcomer. Makes a lot of sense. Another option I see here was being Feinberg on red. Obviously, Fein would be a very good player, but it would be kind of insane if this happened, obviously. This team is a little bit less cohesive, but it does have a newcomer on it. So I guess that is an example of how it could start. So that's my thoughts on how a red team may happen. Next up, orange team. I think orange team will probably just be all returning players, but still like an eye-catching team. Most likely, obviously, we'll have Owen on it. I think a combination with like Owen, Becky, and Sneak is definitely a vibe. And I mean, Ryan fits super well in there too. But that's definitely a vibe that I could see happening for the orange team. I could also see like Owen and Hermits with another player, but I don't think I saw a prediction that had that type of vibe. So yeah, I think orange team will probably just be either a Hermits-centered team or just a funny vibes team like this, probably. Next up is yellow. I'll say this now because Fruit's going to appear in like 3 predictions. Repeat players. I think Shelby's also already been in multiple now, but there's going to be repeat players. Like I said, it's not specific teams. It's not as if this is going to be the full roster. It's just vibes, the way the teams are made, the structure of the team, not the people specifically. I think yellow team is usually, this applies to blue as well. Yellow and blue, and sometimes lime, usually are the more like chill, just like returning players, kind of just good vibes teams. I think this is a very good vibes team. So I mean, it would be very funny, and I think this makes sense. Obviously, all returning players as well, and yeah, I think this would make sense. You'll see this return on the blue team pretty much as well, but it's just different colors. Lime team is usually Lime team's a weird one. It's either just a good vibes team from like the yellow team, or it's like a slightly more eye-catching one with usually hermits or like life SMP members type of vibe. I think there's a chance that you'll just see that returning as well. Green team is probably going to be another pretty hype, closing team. I don't know how likely it is that there is a newcomer on this green team, but I do think there's a boosted chance, I guess, for this first event back. I'd give it like a solid 65% chance of there being a newcomer on the green team. And this obviously is a super common team. I think everyone's seen this one before. Then we get to Cyan. Now, Cyan, I think similar to the red team, actually pretty much the same case, it either is going to have one newcomer very highly likely or two newcomers less likely. But I do think there's a very high chance that it has a newcomer on it, because you just want these first teams to catch people's attention and be like, hey, MCC teams, by the way, you see this new person? Hey, we're cooking up, man, we're cooking up. So I think that's probably going to happen. Obviously, this is a super insane one with both Curryway and Smallent being two of the most highly requested players as of recent specifically, but also of all time, being on this team together. Could happen, could not happen, we'll see. But I think this would make sense. I don't know. I would personally swap this this Cyan team with one of the red teams in terms of like how I would structure team announcements. But I do think there's a high chance that there's a newcomer on the Cyan team. Here's another example where you have Curry and Chilled Chaos. This team, I think, is a little bit more cohesive. Obviously, you have a lot of combos here that people would lose their mind over. Curry and Kara from casting, Chilled Chaos and Kara are friends. Curry and Fruit, HPG duo that like never happens pretty much. Insane combo. This would be fantastic. This is a very, very good team prediction. I really, really like this one. Aqua team, look, I don't know if Scott pays attention to it. I assume probably no. But everyone predicts H-Bomb to be on the Aqua team. I think there's two things that could happen if there's an H-Bomb Aqua team. You either have one that's more Hermits focused, which is this, or you have a bit more of a different vibe, more like vibes, funny vibe, where you have this, which is also a very fun team. I like both of these pretty much equally. I think both of them would make equally as much sense. Next up, a blue team. As you can see, Critic Zeus is on here again. Just another good vibes team with returning players, similar to like yellow team. It's just your token blue team or yellow team, whatever. I think it would make a lot of sense. Then purple team is an interesting one. I think there's a pretty good chance that the purple team either has like a returning player who you haven't seen in a while or a newcomer, one of the two. And obviously this one doesn't have either of that, because I could also see it just being a really good vibes team. I do think purple team is probably going to be a pretty hype one, because it just makes sense. You want to hold people's attention as well. Also, you want to build up hype for what is the pink team going to be, because the pink team is probably going to be an absolute nuke of a team. I don't want to set the stage too high, but like, I feel like there's either going to be a long requested newcomer on it, a returning player, like a super long requested duo or whatever, right? Something is going to happen, and the pink teams that I have prepared will make sense for both of those. And then there's also, here's the one that has a newcomer on it, with Piso. I think, there's a chance that this happens. Also, do want to remind everyone that balancing is not taken into consideration here, okay? Anyways, so yeah, that's purple. I think purple's going to be like a hype team, whether that has a newcomer, returning player, or just a good vibes team like this. One of those, I think, is very likely. And then pink. Look, this one would be kind of insane, wouldn't it? I think the Reddit would lose their mind if they saw this get announced. I don't think a Pete and Quake duo is actually happening, because I don't actually know if Quake is planning to return to MCC anytime soon. But this is an example of what would probably happen. You'd see a newcomer that's, talked about with Pete and Quake as a massively insane duo. Kara makes a lot of sense there, and Chilled Chaos obviously makes a lot of sense there too. Kara and Chilled are friends. I think Pete and Chilled might know each other too. So very cohesive team, very hype team, good one to end off on, and the Reddit would lose their mind. The Reddit would forget about the whole name change and no longer care, pretty much. And then this is another one. Obviously, it's the same team as like right here. I think this specific team is either a green team, which it would be a very hype green team, or a pink team is also very possible, because it has just, it's such a good team. It's so cohesive, okay? Shane and Impulse, team before, was a really good vibe team. They really just, they got along super well. Good team, would work super well. Shane and Joel, probably the most requested duo right now, or at least top 3 most requested duos right now. Would make a lot of sense. Obviously, very cohesive as well. Skiz and Impulse, they're like super insanely good friends. Like that duo just makes a lot of sense. And then Joel with Skizzle are also it's a duo more based on them both joining Hermitcraft at the same time. Shane and Hermits always work super well too. It's just a super cohesive team, and I think this could potentially be a way a way to end off the teams with a pink team like this, or like this. But I think there's also a very good chance it's a whole different vibe. But I do think, yet again, that there's a pretty, it's like almost 100% chance that there's going to be a newcomer on the last team. There's almost no way there's not. So yeah, that's my not prediction, but more my intro to predictions. I hope that everyone who's still here will be attending the team prediction stream today at what did I say, 6:30 p.m. or 7 p.m. UK time. That's when I will be live. So we're going to be doing team predictions. We're going to be following this guideline ever so slightly. And yeah, going to try to fit in about 5, maybe more newcomers. I think 5 is a good one to start with. It's just a very nice number. Maybe 6 if we have a really cool idea. But yeah, we'll see. Also, shout out Sandwich Lord. I don't know how long he's going to be live for. He's been live for 3 hours, but I assume by the time that I'm going to go live, he's probably no longer live. So, shout out to Sandwich Lord if you want to watch him right now. Anyways, goodbye, thanks, and I'll see you on the stream, okay? Twitch.tv/Wolfeei. I'll see you there. Goodbye.